welcome to IP Study Video Lectures. Today we're going to discuss the first chapter of Grade 8 English Grammar and we'll explore the topic sentences and phrases. By the end of this topic, we will be able to identify types of sentences, describe the parts of sentences, subject and a predicate, illustrate the types of sentences, define phrases and their kinds. Now, you must have done this in grade 6 as well. Now tell me, what is a sentence? A sentence is a group of words that makes something meaningful. That means the group of words, when they come together, they establish a complete meaning. Those words are called sentences. While constructing a sentence, we must always remember that a sentence starts with a capital letter and ends with a proper punctuation mark, which could be a full stop, a question mark, or an exclamation mark. So now you know what is a sentence. Now let's discuss some examples. Are you hungry? Yes, let's have apples. Mahatma Gandhi is called the father of our nation. Why did you miss the meeting? What a beautiful day! Now, in all of these sentences, the group of words are making the complete meaning. That means we can say that a sentence is a group of words used to express something meaningful. Hence, it's called a sentence. Now, let's discuss what are the parts of sentence. There are two parts of a sentence, a subject and a predicate. What is a subject? That's right. A subject is a person or a thing whom or what we are talking about in the sentence. And the predicate? That's right. The predicate is the rest of the sentence. So, the first part of the sentence is a subject and the second part of the sentence is a predicate. Let's see this example. Ria eats early. In this sentence, Ria is a subject, eats early is a predicate. Now, there are some features of a subject. What are those? The subject is usually a noun or a pronoun or a group of words which denotes the person or thing we are talking about. For example, the cat sat on the mat. The old man walked slowly down the street. In these two sentences, the cat and the old man are the subjects. In the first sentence, we said the cat sat on the mat. Now, who sat on the mat? The cat. That means we are talking about the cat in this sentence. In the second sentence, walked slowly down the street. Now, who walked slowly down the street? The old man. That means we're talking about the old man in the sentence. Similarly, the predicate may consist of one word or words which tell us about the subject. Now here, the predicate is the second part of the sentence and they tell us about the subject. For example, the cat sat on the mat. The old man walked slowly down the street. Now, in these two sentences, sat on the mat, walked slowly down the street are the predicates. Why? Because in the first sentence, sat on the mat is telling us what the cat is doing. And in the second sentence, walked slowly down the street is telling us who is walking down the street. Hence, in these sentences, the subject are the cat, the old man, and the predicate is sat on the mat, walked slowly down the street. So I hope we are clear about the two parts of a sentence, which is a subject and a predicate. Now let's discuss few elements that a predicate has. A predicate will always have a verb because it is going to tell us the action of the subject. Along with the verb, it may also have an object and a complement. Let's study these two aspects in detail. Object. When the predicate has an object, that means the verb in that sentence and the subject in that sentence required an object. For example, the chief gave books to the women. Now, in this sentence, gave books to the women, all of these group of words are the predicate. Along with that, there is a verb, gave. And there are objects in the sentence. What are those? Books to the women. That means there are two objects. Now, how do we differentiate between these two objects? So, within the elements of a predicate, there is a verb, then there is an object or a complement. Within the object, there are two types of objects. What are those? Those are direct objects and indirect objects. Now, let's look at this example again. The chief gave books to the women. In this sentence, books is a direct object and to the women is an indirect object. Why? Because the chief, which is a subject, is giving the books. That means books is directly related to what the subject is giving. And that also means this is directly related to what a verb is doing. That means the chief is giving something. He is giving books. Now, to whom the books are given? To the women. That means to the women becomes an indirect object. That means it is not directly related to the subject or the verb in that sentence, but it is indirectly related to the subject. Therefore, books becomes the direct object and to the women becomes the indirect object. Now let's look at another element, which is a complement. What is a complement? When the sentence or when the subject in a sentence describes a state or it describes something which is complementing the subject, that is a complement in the sentence. For example, the policemen were alert. Now in this sentence, the policemen is the subject, were alert is the predicate. Now here, alert, the word alert is describing how the policemen were. It is describing the state of the policemen. They were alert. That means it is complementing the subject. Let's look at another example. People are in the hall. Now this is telling us the location of the people. That means where are the people? They are in the hall. Therefore, the predicate are in the hall has in the hall as a complement. That means it is describing the state of the subject. Sometimes it may also describe the profession of the subject. For example, she is a doctor. That means the word doctor is describing something about the subject. It is describing the profession of the subject. That means it is giving a complement to the subject. Therefore, it is a complement in the predicate. So, the elements of a predicate has a verb and it may also have an object or a complement. If it has an object, it may have a direct object, or sometimes it may have an indirect object, or sometimes it may have both. Let's discuss our next topic, types of sentences. There are 4 types of sentences: declarative sentences, interrogative sentences, imperative sentences, exclamatory sentences. Declarative sentences are those sentences which declare something. That means it is telling us the state of the sentence. It is telling us the state of something. It may be an affirmative sentence or it may be a negative sentence. Interrogative sentences are those sentences which ask questions. That means they are formed when you are asking something. Imperative sentences. Imperative sentences are those sentences which express a command, a request, or an order. Exclamatory sentences are those sentences which exclaim something. That means it declares a strong feeling or a desire for something in the sentence. Now let's study each of these kinds in detail. Declarative sentences. Declarative sentences are statements which state or declare something. Now these can be of two types: affirmative sentences, negative sentences. Affirmative sentences are those sentences which are positive in nature. That means they are declaring something, but they are declaring it positively. For example, he gets angry. He is a social person. She is a naughty girl. So, these are affirmative sentences. That means it is describing or stating something about the subjects. But what are negative sentences? Negative sentences are the sentences where we use words like not, don't, never. That means they are declaring something, but they are in negative. For example, he never gets angry. So if we look at the affirmative declarative sentence, he gets angry. Now, please look at the negative declarative sentence, he never gets angry. So, while comparing the two sentences, you can easily make out a difference that affirmative declarative sentences are positive in nature and negative declarative sentences are negative in nature. Interrogative sentences. Interrogative sentences are sentences when we want to form a question. That means they ask a question. We form these sentences by putting the auxiliary verb before the noun or by beginning the sentence with a word and ending it with a question mark. For example, where were you in the morning? That means we begin these sentences with words. Or we may also begin them with how. These sentences are only used when you want to ask a question. In these type of sentences, you always end with a question mark. And there is also one important point to always remember is that the auxiliary verb in these sentences comes before the noun. So, interrogative sentences are the sentences which ask a question and we always put the auxiliary verb before a noun. These type of sentences ends with a question mark. Imperative sentences. Imperative sentences express requests, commands, advice, or suggestions. For example, stop talking in the class. This is a command. Pass me the salt, please. This is a request. In such sentences, the subject is always the second person pronoun you, which is generally implied. Now, imperative sentences are those sentences which expresses a command, a request, advice, or suggestion. These kind of sentences always have a pronoun you, which is implied. That means we do not put them in the sentence, but we imply that we are talking about the second person, or we are referring to the second person. For example, brush your teeth. Here, this is kind of an advice, but it is generally implied that I am talking about the second person and not about myself. Pass me the salt, please. Here, we are implying that we are talking about the second person, or we are talking to the second person, and it is a kind of a request that we are making. So these are imperative sentences. Exclamatory sentences. We use exclamatory sentences to express a sudden, strong feeling like surprise, delight, grief, etc. An exclamatory sentence ends with an exclamation mark. For example, how sad the news is. These sentences describe your feelings. If you're happy, you can say, hurrah, we won the match. If you are sad about something, we will describe it, we'll express the emotion by saying how sad the news is. In these type of sentences, we always end them with an exclamation mark because we are expressing the strong feeling and the desire. For example, what a beautiful mountain. So here, you're expressing a strong feeling and a strong desire. So these sentences are called exclamatory sentences. Now let's discuss the second part of this lesson, which is a phrase. What is a phrase and how we can differentiate between a sentence and a phrase? A phrase is a group of words which makes a meaning, but it does not complete the sentence. That means these are those group of words which have a meaning on their own, but they are a part of a sentence, but do not complete the sentence. A sentence is a group of words which completes the meaning. But the phrase is a group of words which has a meaning but doesn't make a complete, meaningful sentence. For example, the white tiger, pink in color. Now, if you look at these group of words, the white tiger, this has a meaning that we are talking about a tiger which is white in color. But it is a part of a sentence. It is not a complete sentence in its own. The second example, pink in color. Now, we know that we are referring to something which is pink in color, but we don't know what are we referring to, because this is a part of a sentence, not the complete sentence. Hence, this is called a phrase and not a sentence. There are few characteristics of a phrase. There is no subject or predicate in the phrase because it is not a complete sentence. We are not referring or talking about something. We're just putting a group of words which has a meaning on their own. Hence, the phrase doesn't have a predicate or a subject. Phrases cannot stand by themselves. As I explained earlier, that phrases cannot be called a sentence because if you just put a phrase pink in color, now you know you're talking about something pink in color, but you will never be definite about what are you referring to. Therefore, they cannot stand by themselves. You have to put them in a sentence to make a complete meaning. Phrases do not convey a complete meaning on their own. Types of phrases. Now, there are three types of phrases: noun phrases, adjective phrases, and adverb phrases. Noun phrases. What is a noun phrase? A noun phrase has a noun as the main verb in the sentence, and then they have determiners to modify it. As I gave you an example, big brown puppy, the small little cafe, bunch of fresh flowers. In this phrase, flowers is a noun bunch of fresh, that is describing that noun. So noun is the main word here and bunch of fresh are highlighting them. So that's called a noun phrase. Now let's study the next type. Adjective phrase. Adjective phrase describes a noun or a pronoun in a sentence. For example, flowers with good fragrance should be in decoration. For example, flowers with good fragrance should be used in decoration. Now here the words with good fragrance, they are the adjective phrase. Why? Because they are describing the subject, flowers. Shivani, a girl with courage, saved the boy from the goons. Now here Shivani is the subject of the sentence whom we are talking about. A girl with courage. This is describing a noun. This is describing the subject. Hence, this is called adjective phrase. Now let's study the next type. Adverb phrase. Adverb phrase acts as an adverb or modifier verb. For example, John danced on the stage very gracefully. That means the subject, John, what is he doing? He is dancing on the stage. How? Very gracefully. So here the adverb phrase is modifying a verb, dance. Now there are different types of adverb phrases. For example, adverb phrases of manner, adverb phrases of place, adverb phrases of time. Adverb phrases of manner tells us how the action is done. For example, they welcomed us in a warm manner. The verb welcomed, how did they welcome them? In a warm manner. So this phrase is modifying a verb, welcomed, by using words like in a warm manner. Similarly, adverb phrases of place tell us where the action is done. For example, she looked for her phone in every possible place. What is she doing? She is looking for her phone. Where? In every possible place. So here the phrase is describing where the subject is looking for the phone. And it is also modifying a verb, looked. Adverb phrases of time tells us when the action is done. For example, the sun shines in the sky during the day. Now here the verb shines is modified by a phrase during the day. Hence this is called adverb phrases of time. So a phrase is a group of words that has a meaning on their own but doesn't complete the sentence. A phrase cannot stand alone. They have to be a part of the sentence. They do not have a subject or a predicate. They never end with a punctuation mark. But they have a complete meaning on their own and they are used to complete the sentence. There are three types of phrases: adverb phrase, adjective phrase, and noun phrase. Noun phrase are the group of words which describe a noun. That means these phrases have noun as a main word. Noun phrase, they describe a noun. They modify a noun or pronoun. Adverb phrase, they modify a verb in the sentence. This was all about sentences and phrases. I hope this chapter is clear to you. Stay tuned for our next video lecture. Thank you so much.